Hi, I'm Pedro. I'm product designer working on the Duo IDE UX, and today I want to share with you the AI engagement guidelines and ask for your feedback, for your input, for your collaboration on this. So the idea with AI engagement guidelines, it's something that we have included in our handbook, in the guide for designing with AI. And here, when we talk about the AI engagement guidelines, we reference a framework that was proposed by Google and their People Plus AI research team. And there's a resource here, which I also link from the issue here at the top, which is an article from Google that talks about this framework that captures 4 things about the critical moments where the user interacts with AI to get something valuable from it. So first one is acceptable actions, what the AI system should do, unacceptable, what it should not do, the thresholds of uncertainty, which is what are the things that we need to take into account to surface to the user in case the AI system is unsure about what it's going to produce. And then vulnerabilities. What are the harms, what are the mistakes that we could be exposing our users to? And so with this, and there, if you're interested, you can look through the article. There are some examples here. I put together this fig jam that has a couple of sections that are really important to go through. So the first one is the README, and it explains in more detail what this framework is, what are the AI engagement guidelines, why they're important, and how we should go about defining them. And there are also a few examples here that explain how this could be put into practice. And then below in this blue section, we have the instructions, which have an important disclaimer, which is basically saying that we don't want this exercise to be, overly, exhaustive and comprehensive and capture everything that we need. The primary goal is to capture the most important, common themes that allows us to understand what these capabilities should and should not do, how to deal with uncertainties, what are the vulnerabilities, so that the team and all stakeholders can be aware and aligned on what the purpose and the features do. There are also some instructions here of what you should do. So if you want to participate, and I'm inviting you to participate, anyone who wants to, how you should go about it, and at the very least, just contribute with 1 or 2 thoughts. That will be already plenty. And I also invite you to take a quick look at the code author job steps. There's a link here in case you want to look at the full code author job to be done canvas. And I captured here a screenshot of it, which is basically a description of what is the process that code authors go through when they have their job to be done, which is to introduce improvements to my product and ship them. And so we are focusing now on the gray stickies here at the top, which are called the small jobs, as we also denote here, small jobs. And below them, we have the orange stickies, which are the micro jobs, which are like more detailed steps. So for example, here in the big, the small job determines scope, we have micro jobs, which are, I will identify the requirements, I will ensure the documentation is comprehensive, I will prioritize tasks, and the same thing for the other small jobs. And this is basically our playing field, right? These are the things, the steps that we need to be aware of that users, the code authors, will try to perform in the IDE and will request for help from the AI assistant, from Duo, in that context. And so for that, I created 8 sections here: determine scope, explore feasibility, prepare development, write the code, verify code, document changes, submit changes for review, and then refine changes based on the review. And these 8 steps, I believe, capture the most important steps, the small jobs that we see here in the canvas. And for each of them, it has 4 sections. Again, acceptable actions, unacceptable actions, the thresholds of uncertainty, and the vulnerabilities. And so my ask for you is to contribute at least 1 thought to each of these, if you can, And it's okay if it's repeated and if it's duplicate with other things that people have already contributed, no problem. You can write everything that you want in just one sticky. It will have your name below if you want. And basically I already added some examples here. So in this case, to determine scope, here are some example, steps, micro jobs that people might want to do as part of determining scope. And this is again in the context of the IDE. So they've, the code author has been has been assigned a task, a code task. There's something that they want to do and that they need to do, but they want to understand what is the scope of that. So in this case, Duo should, for example, analyze code repositories to determine technical boundaries and dependencies, right? So this is something acceptable. What is unacceptable is that Duo should not make assumptions about requirements without verification, right? It should not hallucinate. It should not be creative about the requirements. Thresholds of uncertainty for this: when Duo's predictions are weak, Duo should ask clarifying questions rather than guessing. Or, another one, indicate when historical data on similar tasks is limited. So it might want to look at other issues or other, code tasks in that project, in that repository in GitLab, and come back and say, I didn't find a lot of historical data. So I want to say that and make sure that the user is aware of it. And vulnerabilities, in this case, when incorrect Duo predictions can cause harm when, for example, incorrect identification of technical constraints could lead to wasted development effort, or failing to account for testing and quality assurance steps in the breakdown. And I've added more examples here to each of these so that you can get started and understand how you might want to surface them. The goal of this, as I said, is to get basically cards similar to what we see here in this example from the Google team, where we can share this across the team and align on what should be expected, what we should be building towards for these moments, to determine scope, to explore feasibility, to prepare for development, and all of these steps that people will try to ask Duo for help in the IDE, so that we can then extract requirements for UX, for data, for machine learning, for any other kind of task that we need to develop the system. So I invite you for your feedback. I'm hoping that you find this helpful, and I'll see you around. Thank you.